When you think of the perfect victim, what do you think of? Is it a man? Is it a woman? What do they act like? Do they cry when they discuss the event? Do they always dress modestly and have a pristine, if not virginal past? The concept of the perfect victim was first articulated in academic terms by Norwegian criminologist and sociologist Niels Christie in a 1986 paper titled The Ideal Victim, where he noticed that the perfect victim is one who can garner the most sympathy and support from both the justice system and the public at large. The ideal victim is someone like a little old lady who is robbed on her way home from caring for her sick sister. She's someone who can just command enough power to establish their victim status, but also be weak enough not to become a threat to other important interests. But what happens if the victim isn't a little old lady? What happens when she's a somewhat controversial YouTuber and the person that she's accusing of harming her is one of the good ones, the nice feminist guys who are supposedly safe for us all? Let's talk about the allegations made by Tana Mongeau against fellow YouTuber Cody Ko. If this is your first time seeing my face, hi there! My name is Rebecca, or Ricky Faith Quinn. I'm an autism advocate and crisis counselor for survivors of sexual assault and domestic violence. I make videos here on YouTube about disability and feminism in media. And even though all of that sounds like it might be super smart, please do not be fooled. I am still, in fact, an autistic bimbo. All beauty, no brains. Or in autistic language, all beauty and no trains. If that's something you'd like to see more of, please be sure to join our bimbo community by checking out our Patreon link down below. If you cannot afford to join the Patreon, that is totally okay. Subscribing to the YouTube channel is completely free, and a lot of people who watch my videos apparently don't subscribe, and that makes the subscribe button very sad. Look at it, it's crying. Am I capitalizing off of your hyper-empathy and anthropomorphization of the subscribe button? I don't know, is it working? Second, this video will be dealing with triggering topics such as sexual assault, domestic violence, grooming, and victim blaming. For legal purposes, all of these allegations are alleged, and for algorithmic purposes, we will be censoring these topics to please the YouTube censorship gods. Of course, even with the censor, many viewers can still find this subject really triggering, so if you find at some point in the video that you are experiencing anything along the lines of emotional overwhelm, panic attacks, or feelings of anxiety, please do not hesitate to reach out to the crisis numbers listed in the description down below. There are hotlines with certified crisis counselors like myself who are available 24/7 to help people experiencing trauma. You are not alone. Please do not hesitate to reach out. With all of that said, let's get into the video.
I never fucking said, look at your ratchet ass, ever pure ass, I like your shirt ass. So long again, do you really like...
Tana Mongeau is a content creator, musician, and reality TV personality with over 5 million subscribers on her own personal YouTube channel and another 2.5 million on her podcast channel, Cancelled with Tana Mongeau and Brooke Schofield. Tana was born on June 24th, 1998 in Las Vegas, Nevada, and began creating content in April of 2015, making her only 17 at the start of her career as a content creator. Tana has been known for her storytime videos, notably ones like Hairdresser from Hell, the video that catapulted her into fame to begin with.
If you don't fix my hair, like, I'm not gonna pay you, I'm not gonna come back here, and you're gonna get a sassy ass Yelp review, like,
Her account has only grown since 2015, granting her opportunities such as her 2019 MTV reality show, Tana Turns 21, or her 2021 podcast, Cancelled, which is still running to this day. Tana's career has not been without controversy, but honestly, I'm not going to get into any of that at all. You know why? Because it doesn't sharking matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I've seen a lot of people consistently bring up Tana Mongeau's problematic history when talking about her recent allegations that she's brought forward. And I'm gonna tell you right now, you don't have to bring up a victim's problematic past when they come forward and tell you that something has happened to them. Especially given the fact that all of the things that are in Tana's past don't have any sort of relevance to the experiences she's been mentioning now. Her history does not have anything to do with making up crimes, creating false allegations, or anything even remotely similar. So why bring it up at all? And further than that, I'm going to say the same thing that I said in 2021 during the time when Kanye West was making some very frightening and harassing public statements and comments against his ex-wife, Kim Kardashian. Stars Hollow peaked with Kirk in a box. Ah, crap. Sorry. Wrong tweet. Still true, though. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you don't have to say, I usually fucking hate Kim Kardashian before you acknowledge that maybe her ex-husband shouldn't be verbally abusing, harassing, and threatening her and her new boyfriend online. Did O.J. Simpson and Nicole Brown mean nothing to you? I understand the desire to appear unbiased, especially given the blindness that comes along with parasocial relationships, but can you imagine how it must feel to be that victim and to hear, yeah, Rivera Bonbon is a piece of shit, but this one time and this one time only, I believe that the piece of shit is telling the truth. You don't have to bring up every bad thing a victim ever did in order to appear non-biased in your belief that a victim is telling the truth. Part of the reason I feel so passionately about this is that even when bringing up Tana's past history, people are choosing to focus almost exclusively on the moments that show Tana in a poor light, as opposed to the moments that highlight the history of sexualization and exploitation of her from creators who were not only larger than her, but also older than her, sexualizing her in the process. Take, for example, this video, which, bonus trigger warning for Shane Dawson.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
If you want to take a full look at that video with a good play-by-play commentary on it, please be sure to check out Jake Doolittle on YouTube. I'll tag a link to the video in the description down below. I thought it was really well done and highlights all of the just all-around creepy Shane Dawson vibes. But for those not wanting to watch the whole thing, this video was filmed and uploaded just after Tana turned 18 years old, making her of legal age at the time of its filming and publication. However, which shout out to Kenna on TikTok for giving me that phrase, according to both Tana and Shane in the video itself, it was planned and discussed amongst the two of them before her 18th birthday.
Yeah, so now I'm 18, and today we're gonna do things that are...
I have a list of things that I want you to do now that you're 18.
He never tells me that, like, he's prepared, and it's just always like...
The list of content that Shane was so eager to create with her includes the following necessary items. Sarcasm, by the way. Number 1, discussions of Shane trying to get an underage Tana to watch horse corn. And not the corn they got down in Iowa. I'm talking the 18-up spicy content. And I totally had to Google which state was the corn state because I'm a bimbo and also was educated in the American school system, which is basically a bimbo creation factory. Number 2, discussions of an initiation process by way of seeing Shane naked.
The initiation process should be for you to see me naked.
Okay, yeah.
Like, are you ready? Feel like you're 18.
Is there gonna be, like, a star over it, or are you gonna be like...
Well, I don't know if I want to show you everything, but I feel like I should show you, like, a piece of my body.
Number 3, smoking a cigarette.
It's 18. Like, you have to do it.
Yeah, like, I'm 18. Like, it's...
Oh, I hate that. It smells so bad.
Number 4, drinking kombucha, which is legal for 18-year-olds despite being alcoholic.
Kombucha has alcohol in it, and it's such a low amount that 18 and older can drink it.
That's amazing. We're gonna get fucked up.
Number 5, having her view a half pube, which was just a hair from his inner thigh, but he had every intention of being a pear from his potato sack. And not the kind of potato sacks they got down in Idaho.
I have a in my hand. Let's see it. First of all, this isn't... Okay, it's kind of cheating because it's like an inner leg hair, so it's not actual, like, the awesome. It's an awesome. It gives you a taste of what I have to offer.
Yeah.
Live.
Exactly.
Number 6, discussions of throwing up on someone's... Holy shark, I don't even know if I can say that on YouTube.
Have you ever thrown up on a...
No.
I had somebody throw up on my...
They really let huge content creators say anything and still be monetized, don't they? But they had discussions of Shane throwing up on someone's hot dog, and not the kind you get at Wiener Schnitzel.
You were expecting a little running hot dog, weren't you?
Which he then demonstrated on camera for like 5 whole minutes. Number 7, the infamous moment where she pees on him. Like, listen, I'm not opposed to spicy content or discussions of spicy content. Hell, I make spicy content. But doing this on a non-spicy public platform to someone 10 years younger than you who is freshly 18 after having made the list while she was still underage of all of these spicy things that you wanted to do with her.
Stop it. Get some help.
It's weird. It's weird, right? Like, I'm not crazy. This is weird and it's gross. Although, what else would someone expect from Shane Dawson? Yeah, I didn't even use sharks for that one because sharks are too good to be anywhere near trash.
Oogly boogly, bitch!
Something to note of this video is that at one point, Shane asks her if she's ever had intimate relations with a YouTuber, and there's actually a moment where Tana pauses uncomfortably and Shane attempts to pressure her into publicly saying who it was that she had intimate relations with, and she goes into detail about this anonymous large YouTuber that she had been with.
Shane's gonna take my
Have you
review.
ever had sex with a YouTuber? Who? Give me a hint.
Okay, so fine, I'll give it up, you know, just like right, like for YouTube, you know. So he's been on YouTube for a long time. He makes a lot of videos. He uploads all the time.
Okay.
He was doing like one thing, and now he's like doing another thing, you know. Like he kind of like changed up his like video style.
Okay.
Like he does like conspiracy theories.
You had sex with Lucas Kruchik of Fred?
This, my little bonbons, is what we call foreshadowing.
If I had a 17-year-old daughter or a little sister or something, like I would kill. Yeah, you know. So then it's like, yeah.
In June of 2024, during a live recording of her podcast Cancelled, Tana was asked,
"Who's the smallest dick you've ever had sex with?"
Oh my god, do no one look at me, Cody Co.
referencing Cody Michael. I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce that last name. Cody Co is a former Vine star and now commentary content creator with over 6 million subscribers who Tana alleges that she slept with when she was 17. Oh yeah, did I also mention that he was 25 at the time this happened? Making this a whole bass crime. The clips from the Cancelled podcast that included Tana's accusations didn't go massively viral at first, but started gaining traction when TikTokers like my amazing mutual I'm Just Xander and huge podcaster Ethan Klein over on the H3 podcast started discussing and reacting to it. Even with those videos doing pretty well with views, I mean, sharking hell, the H3 podcast covering the subject has almost 1 million views, not to mention Xander's video gaining about 250,000 on his own channel. Seriously, you should follow my mutual Xander. They're just an amazing human being. The allegations still didn't receive a lot of mainstream attention. That is, until the D'Angelo attacked.
Surprise, motherfucker.
D'Angelo Wallace is a commentary YouTuber like myself who makes amazing videos discussing all sorts of topics surrounding media, be they TikTok, YouTube controversies, problematic public figures, or even theories that the writer of the Argyle book doesn't exist.
Who actually wrote Argyle, and why do people think it's Taylor Swift?
D'Angelo is honestly a sharking amazing content creator who, if you don't already follow them, you absolutely should. On July 13th, D'Angelo uploaded this video, an uncomfortable conversation about Cody Co, where he called out Cody directly by name.
Someone has been alleging for years now that you, one of the largest commentary creators on YouTube, knowingly committed a crime against her when she was a minor. But YouTubers and viewers alike are ignoring and discrediting these allegations solely because the person making them happens to be an unlikable woman online, Tana Mongeau. And you know that people are ignoring this because nobody is working harder to bury the story than you. And you're getting away with it because commentary YouTube has a serious problem.
In his video, which will be linked in the description down below, he also made note that Cody has deleted all comments discussing the allegations on both his YouTube channel and his Reddit page, but strangely enough, not his wife's YouTube channel, which is absolutely filled of comments asking for Cody Co to address the situation. Like, seriously, bro, if you're not going to speak up, at least don't let your wife take the fall for you. I think that somebody actually watched D'Angelo's video because ever since being called out directly on that, suddenly all these comments are now left up again. But what can we expect from a man who invited an alleged sexual predator to his wedding long after the allegations had become so public that Cody stopped making content with him? Yeah, I don't want people who give me money to know that I'm still making content with you, but we're still totally friends enough for you to come to my wedding. Shell no, that could not be me. I'll just invite my own family to my wedding. Shark you, Lisa, you know what you did. After D'Angelo's thorough and extremely well done video went pretty viral, garnering 2.3 million views, Tana's accusations really started getting more public attention, which then of course has brought in the wrong kind of people.
Exactly. Going viral, like seeing
Ever since Tana's accusations against Cody Ko started getting mainstream attention, though there is, I believe, a majority of people who do believe her when she says what happened back in 2015, there has been, of course, numerous people coming forth with all kinds of theories defending Cody, which, let me just remind you all of something. Despite what your parasocial relationship tells you, your favorite content creator is not a reflection of you. Not even me. But thank you for choosing me to be your favorite. When people form parasocial relationships with their favorite content creators, they often form a sense of identity around that content creator. This is not uncommon, it's completely normal as a phenomenon, and so long as you don't wrap up your entire identity around that content creator, there's nothing wrong with it. However, due to this identity attachment, oftentimes when said content creator does something wrong or problematic, the parasocial aspect can take over, causing the viewer to feel as though an attack on the creator that they like is an attack on them individually.
Because if you are saying that Hillary Swank isn't hot, then you're saying I'm not hot, because obviously I'm not as hot as Hillary Swank.
When it's not. Just because you empathize with your favorite creator, it doesn't mean you are them at all. Their crimes and their mistakes belong to them and them alone. Most of them have the money and power to defend themselves, and also PR teams, so you don't need to jump to their defense. They don't need you, and they really won't notice even if you do defend them. So when the accusations against Cody Ko were made public, many people jumped to his defense and engaged in the usual victim-blaming rhetoric that happens whenever a survivor comes forward. Let's dissect some of them right here and now. For one, many survivors do not even understand that they have been assaulted until long after the fact. This is a phenomenon known as unacknowledged assault, something that is so common that one US study found that roughly 60% of college-age survivors of sexual assault did not identify their experience as such, despite those experiencing matching the legal definitions of assault. Often because of a variety of factors, such as the media portrayal of SA being some stranger hiding in a dark alley coming to get you, when in actuality, 90% of all victims know their attacker, with 44% of those incidents being done by an intimate partner. And even with those stats, more importantly, Tana did come about with this incident earlier. Remember how I mentioned that she talked about the incident in that infamous Shane Dawson video? That wasn't the last time she spoke out about what Cody Ko did. In a 2020 episode of her podcast Cancelled, Tana talked about a large YouTuber who slept with her despite being warned by Gabby Hanna that she was underage.
But this YouTuber, I don't know if I was 17 or 18. I was like on the brink, but I was at a playlist live and they were like trying to hook up with me. And it's something I never even like thought of again. You know what I mean? It was just like, and obviously it was like an older guy and whatever, but I mean, we're friends now. And like, obviously I'm not saying it's right. It's not right. And a couple weeks ago, I got a call from that, should I say it? That Gabby Hanna was trying to sell to them that this YouTuber like hooked up with me when I was like underage, and then it was fucked up. And I was like, what if this was my trauma?
Speaking of Gabby Hanna, as D'Angelo covered in his video, Gabby Hanna spoke about this incident years ago as well. Again, not mentioning Cody by name, but describing the exact thing in extremely similar detail.
I told a guy, I saw him making out with a girl at a party who was underage, and I pulled him aside and I was like, hey man, you probably don't know, I know she like looks a little older, she's underage, watch it. And he was like, oh my God, thank you for telling me. And then he turned that.
Could it be that Cody Ko has millions of followers and is considered one of the safe feminist men? And typically when women come forward about the safe men, they're less likely to be believed about their assault? Couldn't be that at all, could it? Again, this is sarcasm, by the way, if you couldn't tell. Survivors are allowed to come forward at any time about allegations, no matter how much time has passed. And their reasons for waiting are, again, none of your sharking business. When it comes to our brain and our ability to make decisions, the part of our brain that allows us to know and understand the long-term potential consequences of our decisions that we make, this part of the brain is known as the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex doesn't fully develop until a person hits 25.
I thought of something funnier than 24.
Let me hear it.
25.
Meaning that until then, a person literally does not have full capabilities of understanding the long-term consequences of their decisions. This is why teenagers are not able to give legal consent in most states, at least not to those who are significantly older and better able to understand the ramifications of their actions. Tana was 17. Cody was 25. He was an adult. She was a child. He knew better, he could understand the long-term consequences, he was warned. It doesn't matter if she thought she wanted it at the time. He was the adult. He was the one responsible to stop the interaction before it became appropriate, or, bare minimum, after he was informed that she was underage. This is an argument that I've seen crop up time and time again every time a victim comes forward about a popular celebrity that people like. She could be lying. What about Amber Heard? And honestly, that statement is terrifying. I am not going to get into the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. There is more than enough content out there for you to consume in order to form your own opinion about it. But if you want my opinion, it's this. Televising that trial was always going to be a disservice to victims in some way. If Johnny Depp had lost the trial, male victims of domestic violence would have felt more silenced than they already currently feel, especially those victimized by female perpetrators. And as a result of Depp's win in court, though it gave hope to many male victims everywhere, it only served to give justification to the people who continuously accuse every victim of lying. There was no real winning in that situation. Not for anyone beyond the two involved. The ramifications of the public spectacle that was the Heard-Depp trial raises so many concerns about the sway that social media spectacles may have on re-traumatizing survivors, jury decisions skewing towards abusers due to social media pressure, and the now empowerment of abusers who sue their victims for defamation, such as alleged abuser Marilyn Manson, who attempted to sue Evan Rachel Wood for her accusations of grooming against him. And he wasn't the only one. No matter what, victims everywhere lost in that trial. And now, every time a victim comes forward, there's some asshats who feel vindicated enough to state that they know for sure a victim is lying, because they watched the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial, and therefore, all victims must be disbelieved, unless they have thousands of dollars to spend on lawyers and a defamation case like the two millionaires involved. Now, that's not to say that there weren't victims within the Depp and Heard trial, or that there wasn't any abuse. There was absolutely abuse. And though the case was not as clear, cut and dry as some people like to claim it was, there is still piles of evidence of the abuse that occurred. But the ramifications of that case continue to harm millions of people who weren't even involved. When it comes to statistics on how often victims of SA lie, the proof shows that more often than not, they don't. Out of all sexual assault allegations, only 2 to 8% of them turn out to be false. This is well within the statistics surrounding false reports of any crime. Statistically speaking, SA victims don't lie. You know why? Because most of the time, actual perpetrators never face consequence, let alone falsely accused ones. Of reported incidents of SA, only 5.7 of them even end in an arrest, let alone a conviction. Of all reported cases, only 0.6% end in a conviction. Less than 1% of every 1,000 incidences of SA, 994 of those perpetrators will walk free. What is the purpose of faking SA when most real allegations never see anything close to justice? Now, I don't want survivors of SA to listen to that and think that means that they shouldn't even bother reporting. Whether or not you want to report is a personal choice, one that you should never be pressured into or out of by anyone. And many who have reported, even if it didn't bring them the justice that they deserved, it may have helped another victim get it later on. And should their perpetrators strike again, which statistically speaking they often do, reporting is one of the most brave things that anyone can do to help yourself and another person. And if you do decide to do it, advocates like myself are here to help and support you every step of the way. All you need to do is find victim advocacy groups near you and research your state's Victim Bill of Rights. You do not have to go through this alone. We are here for you, and we believe you. The myth of the perfect victim, as mentioned in the beginning of this video, is an extremely harmful belief that victim blamers tend to follow, whether they realize they're doing it or not. By all standards, Tana does not fit the idea that people have in their heads of what a perfect victim looks like. She's a strong, independent woman, so much so that she built up a following and businesses on social media from the time that she was 17 years old. During the time of the essay in 2015, she was at a party where she was potentially engaging in underage drinking. People feel as though Tana has a controversial past, and her perpetrator was not only someone she knows, but someone who is considered to be non-problematic and a nice guy. Tana Mongeau may not fit the ideal victim, but let me remind you, no victim does. The ideal victim is a myth. It's a false belief that only serves to harm survivors and protect abusers by doing things like unfairly affecting Black, Indigenous people of color due to the primary image of the perfect victim being a white woman. Black women especially are constantly thought of as being strong, capable, and able to handle themselves, or in worst case scenarios, they are primarily thought of as the angry Black woman, and automatically assumed to be the aggressor in the situation, making it impossible for them to be seen as the perfect victim. And on top of that, the ideal victim also unfairly targets Black men through a concept known as white woman's tears, where white women who do fit the ideal victim myth will create rare false allegations leading to Black men being unfairly incarcerated or, at worst, like the case of Emmett Till, lynched and unalived. The perfect victim myth also perpetuates the Goldilocks dilemma, where victims can't recall the incident too well because then that means that they rehearse the story, but also expects victims to recall everything that happened, even though many victims experience something called dissociative amnesia, where the brain will straight up temporarily block out traumatic memories to protect you from the knowledge of what happened. The perfect victim myth also creates unrealistic expectations and impossible standards that survivors have to meet. Like, I'm sorry, not all of us are the little frail old lady who takes care of her sick sister. Some of us are bassholes who complain on the internet all day. And because some of us are bassholes who complain on the internet all day, we don't fit that false belief of the ideal victim, which not only undermines our credibility, but discourages us from coming forward when something does happen. Because we know there is a good chance that we won't be believed. Let me tell you a story. Back in 2021, I went on a date with a man. When the date went well, I made the decision to go home with him, with the full intention of having consensual, intimate relations. When we got there, we got down to it. I stopped and told him that I would only consent under the circumstances that he wore protection. He said, "Of course," and then proceeded to do it unprotected, saying, "You don't mind if I test the waters first?" What happened to me was assault. I'm not even going to censor it. What happened to me was rape. And I didn't fight back. I didn't shove him off. I froze. Because I couldn't believe that he would just abuse my boundary like that. Now, you may respond to my story with, well, obviously you didn't see him again after that night, right? No, I did. I dated him for another 2 weeks, just telling myself that what happened couldn't have been assault. It was just bad, intimate relations. It wasn't until months later that I acknowledged or even said out loud that what happened to me was assault. Did I report it? No. But did I want to come forward and name my abuser? Of course. Back in September of 2023, after a series of resurfacing PTSD nightmares of the incident, I was ready to try and take the step forward of naming my abuser, openly calling him out for what he did to me. But then I got a text from my assaulter saying, "Hey, do you remember me?" Of course I remember you, and I wish I could forget. With this messaging, I was scared back into silence out of fear that since I didn't fit the model of a perfect victim, I'm a spicy content creator. I was going home with him at the time on a date, and he's a random nice guy, one that you could bring home to please your Jewish mother. And because of all of that, I was terrified that I would be called the next Amber Heard. And so I stayed silent. And I may stay silent forever. But let me just say, here and now, to my assaulter, if you ever see this, you know what you did. On some level, you know. You violated my consent, and even though I may never name you, you are a Shonda. This is how the myth of the perfect victim and the ways that people talk about people like Tana Mongeau can affect survivors everywhere. Those survivors like myself or Tana Mongeau, or even many people watching this video, don't fit the model of the perfect or ideal victim. I just want to say here and now, that doesn't change what happened to us. That doesn't change that it was wrong. And I think many of us, like Tana has said recently,
but I don't associate or hold it with trauma because I am such a comparative person.
There's a habit of minimizing the effects of trauma because some people have always had it worse. Always remember, a person who drowns in 3 feet of water is just as much not alive as a person who drowns in 8 feet of water. Talking about who has it worse only serves the need to tell yourself that you don't deserve to heal from it because it wasn't bad enough. You deserve the healing. You deserve to move forward. Your pain deserves to be acknowledged. And please know, you are not alone. None of us are. Hello there. If you made it this far, please consider donating to the organization Stop Soldier Suicide, which I will have linked in the description down below. Unfortunately, this month, I had a close friend and veteran tragically take their own life, and honestly, that's a trauma I'm still trying to recover from, and I can't even imagine the pain that their direct family is also experiencing as a result. I am honestly still reeling from the loss of my friend, and our friend group will probably never be the same without them here. I'm also not doing the meme break today because it feels disrespectful with the heavy topics we just discussed, but we will resume the memes in the next video. But as always, we are going to give a Patreon shout out. Today's Patreon shout outs are Joseph Baumgart, who is here in the live with us and been sending me some really funny stuff while I've been bearing my soul out. Thank you so much, Joseph. And also we have Sam, who I showed in the pictures earlier, who just bought some of our Autistic Bimbo and Autistic Himbo merch. You guys look amazing. Thank you so much to all of my Patreon subscribers, all of my Instagram subscribers, all of my TikTok subscribers. I could not make these videos without you. If you want to join our membership or our Patreon, the information is in the link down below. Until then, I am so excited to see you guys in the next video.